Hello, hello, hello. Goodbye, farewell. Thank you for listening. Condensed that one.
Short, snappy, get it done.
Yeah, I feel like we're dragging these out too long. We don't need an hour and a half. I think 4 seconds is probably the prime time for snappy content these days.
Well, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, they've shown that. People want short-form content.
That's what this is. This is an incredibly short-form content podcast, War with a Mate, with me, James.
Me, Andy.
In which we will be short-forming the entirety of the campaign for North Africa, the Desert War, 1940 to 1943.
Which I guess an hour to an hour and a half podcast once a week is the short-form version of this game.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're already doing it. We don't need to reduce it anymore. We've already scaled it down massively. The game scaled down the war. Yep. We've scaled down the game. And then I imagine at some point TikTok Shorts will scale down the podcast even further. And then from there, you can just look at still images from the TikTok and YouTube Shorts of the podcast.
And then it's a singularity.
And then you just think about it
Yeah.
in one perfect moment. But instead, for now, before we find that perfect ebb and flow, we're just going to talk about what we did today. And just like that, turn 4 is over.
Yes, we made it 2/3 of the way through.
Look at that. It only took us nearly a year and a half. And most of the practice scenario is done. We have turns 5 and 6 to go. But then that's it. Then we're free from the shackles of the practice run. And we instead are bound eternally
by the much heavier shackles of the main game.
Yeah, less shackles, I guess. We're just buried under the earth. With this, I feel like I could one day break free from the chain and run out into the wild, be a free man again. But after this, we're done. It's over.
A trap.
Our lives are following a set course.
Oh, well, shall we talk about what we did today instead of pontificating about
I guess
existential dread we've given ourselves?
That's going to happen anyway, so we may as well. So, today we wrapped up the end of turn 4, up stage 3 of turn 4. It was pretty good on my part. I was pretty pleased with the outcome. We wrapped up the end of your movement.
Yes.
Which was your engagement with the 7th Armoured, clashing with the Maletti Division, and the 4th Indian, going once again toe-to-toe with the Bardia Garrison.
4th Indian sort of just smashed the garrison, made them retreat.
Yeah, we had a lot of parallels, actually, because on both engagements, you lost 5% and I lost 20%.
Yes.
And in both engagements, I was forced to retreat 1 hex.
Yes.
And that all played out more or less shot for shot the way I've just said it, except for the fact that the Bardia Garrison, the Maletti Division, the Bardia Garrison, they moved 2 hexes instead of 1.
Yes, they moved further than they had to, just so you could set stuff up.
Yeah, I tried to create a bit of a choke point for your guys, try to make sure that you couldn't go too much further than I wanted you to.
Yep.
Which paid dividends, because after you losing that 5%, me losing those 20%, it meant I then got to have my movement, which was great. The only the conflict that nearly happened was your New Zealand division tried to take on the detachment from my Trivoli regiment up along the north coast.
They just moved a hex and then your guy retreated, which I was sort of expecting, but it was just, get out of here.
Yeah, I wasn't really going to have much luck with that, so I had to flee. I wasn't going to be surviving that. So, funny thing, if you play what I just messed up in reverse, it actually is The Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
Seems unlikely.
I'd love to know if anything does come out of that if you play it backwards.
If only there was a way to find it.
Unfortunately not. This is only recorded in audio forwards, so you can't listen to it backwards. This isn't the Nolan film Tenet. I'm not Robert Pattinson.
Don't I know it?
Wow. Wow. Kick me when I'm up. That meant, we had a little scuffle in my movement, because I moved round the 63rd Serene Division and my 2nd Black Shirts, both of which are mostly unscathed. 63rd have lost some guys from breakdown and a little bit from a kerfuffle, and the 2nd Black Shirt Division are completely unscathed. A virgin division,
Yes.
untouched by the horrors of war. I guess historically they probably did a lot before now.
Yeah.
But in the game, this is their first time. They boxed in the 7th Armoured Division, both of them coming up against them. I let off a barrage, which was very successful. I tried to barrage all 4 of your infantry, and I managed to actually pin 2 of the 4.
Yeah, your scattered 1 barrages are really paying dividends.
Yeah, I was really happy with that. Great outcome. I only put 1 barrage point for each of those. I committed 6 barrages so I could double up on 2 of them. And I did end up getting 2 of your guys on the first pass, which I thought was going to be great for the combat. However, you made sure that didn't happen by retreating immediately.
Yeah, so I just decided to leave.
Yeah, cowardly move.
I guess, but it worked out. Didn't lose anyone.
Yeah, you lost a little bit of respect from me.
That's fine.
Yeah, but what would you rather have? An intact division or my respect?
An intact division?
Or my respect, yes, that was the question.
No, I answered it.
But what would you prefer to have?
An intact division.
Okay.
No, you know...
I don't think you're grasping the question, so we'll...
I just don't think you can handle any form of rejection.
I'm going to choose not to hear the second part of what you said either.
I know.
Unless it's validation, I'm afraid I can't allow it in my life. I need to live in an echo chamber with no criticism and no pushback.
And you can barely handle that.
Even then, I will buckle on contact with air.
So, I think we both felt this combat went, and op stage went pretty well for us. I mean...
You chipped off a fifth of both of those divisions that I had in play. Well, one of them wasn't a division, one's a big garrison.
Yeah, and I did 30% of them last session, which is part of this turn as well.
Yes, previously you've done some heavy hits.
So it'll be compounded percentages, so it won't be quite 50%, but it'll be pretty close.
It's still not a very pleasant loss to take. It's part of my plan. I mean, my plan was to have those guys eat up some of your CP, some of your ammunition, some of your positioning. And it worked well because on the back of this, you've pushed forward. I've then retaliated with my guys. I've not had to really use any ammo apart from the barrage, which I could take. Yeah. And I've then pushed you back.
Yeah. And
pushing you back that way earns me some cohesion, loses you some cohesion.
You don't get cohesion.
I don't gain it.
No. At least that's not what we've been doing.
What's the wording on that one
It's
again?
when they force the retreat.
Yeah, you did opt for a retreat. So you lose the cohesion,
at least
but I don't gain
we
it.
might be doing that wrong, but the way we've been doing it through the scenario at least is...
Yeah, we should double check that just to make sure. But I think either way, I'll happily take that, whether or not I gain the cohesion. I've not marked.
They definitely lost 3. So my guys.
Yeah, and I've then eaten away at the ground that you took.
Yeah, it's gone.
Your guys have moved way further back. The 7th. They moved further back than the track they came up from.
No, they're back on it.
Oh, they're back
they
on
didn't
the track.
come up the escarpment track.
Oh, of course, no, they came along the side.
Yeah, because I briefly had that little triangle.
Yes.
But I've lost that now. And I also pulled, after the second conflict with the 4th, I moved them back to the supply dump.
Yes, the one that trails off from Fort Madalena.
Yes. 2 reasons for that. One, might as well just resupply them.
Yeah, why not?
And also, there was an exposed truck convoy there. So I was thinking, if I don't put the 4th there, you might break someone off and loop round and grab the convoy, which would be not great.
That is what would have happened.
Yeah.
If you hadn't done that, I would have absolutely pushed a unit as far as they could go to make sure that they got those trucks.
Yeah.
Because then I've got your trucks. I know what that feeling is. I know what that devastation is. The morale hit you take in real life would be astounding. I was left crying every night after we would play just because of the stress of the game. Nothing to do with the trucks. Yeah. I'm just bearing my soul here.
It's just revealing a lot of mental fragility.
That's what generals should do.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's all about candour.
No.
Candour is the single most powerful force in the universe.
No, it's not.
Fission.
There you go.
Is the most powerful force in the universe. Fission and candour are cousins. They meet each other from time to time. Family events. gatherings and weddings of distant relatives. They see each other in the street and they know their family, but for some reason they don't speak to each other.
Because they're not really related in any way.
Their granddad was friends with my auntie, and somehow that makes us cousins. I don't understand how that works. Can someone explain?
Yeah, I don't like that stuff.
And yet, fission and candour.
Okay.
If we had to be one each...
I'd be fission.
You think you'd be fission?
Yeah.
Only by default. Only because I'm so candid.
Sure. Whatever you have to tell yourself.
I'm really candid, so you'd be fission by default. Otherwise, if candour wasn't in this, if it was fission and being taller than me, then you would be taller than me and I would be fission.
No, I'd just be both and you'd be nothing.
Ooh, that one smarted a little bit. Being told I'm nothing is that's another tearjerker for James.
That's one of my triggers.
Being told I'm nothing.
Yeah,
that's actually fair.
That's a fair trigger.
Yeah, if we bring down the walls of irony, that's completely permitted. When it comes to the rest of my movement, I rejigged some of my guys. I thought, why have a bunch of guys that are ill-prepared and ill-supplied ready at Hellfire Pass for you to attack them when I could switch them round, which is what I did. Those guys that were battering down on your truck bandits outside Bardia, they have now come up to the top of Hellfire Pass and are ready to take on anyone who comes through that little roadway. And the 1st and 2nd Libyan divisions are taking a well-earned retreat outside Bardia after having popped in for some supplies. And the first, I think it's either the 1st or 4th, I think it's the 4th Black Shirt Division, are now resting up in Bardia.
Okay.
It's well-earned. They have taken a battering.
I guess I'll allow it then.
So they've had a nap up there. They've had some supplies. What was incredibly shocking is what followed from that. Because after repositioning, having our little skirmishes, and then the truck convoy movement, I found something amazing had happened. I went through my usual motions of doing the supply runs up along the top to my airfields.
Yep.
I've now got airfields on map A being fully supplied, or not fully supplied, but supplied by the trucks that I put over there last op stage, or the one before rather. And the trucks that were in Bardia, I've now taken them back. The ones that were stolen by the truck bandits. So I've had those doing some zipping around. My big break-off truck supplies from the black shirts that arrived have also been doing their bits. Which meant by the end of that, when it came to... We haven't quite done store expenditure yet, because that'll be the start of turn 5. But what it does mean is I don't have any units that are actual units worth using that are not fully rationed.
Hey!
Which is a monumentous moment.
Yes. That's a big one for you.
Those guys being able to pop in. I've essentially had 5 divisions, pop into Bardia during that movement.
Yeah.
And take in some supplies to their trucks. And that place has just been sat as a huge stockpile of supplies between just having them naturally and then having the naval convoys, the coastal ones, drop stuff off. They've just had so many stores ready to use that I haven't dipped into. So they are now eating pretty, sitting pretty. I've got some guys that aren't fully stored up, but they aren't guys who are going to do any offensive action.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with them taking that hit. One of them, I think, I'll need to double check this, but one of them, I think, will now suffer attrition.
Oh, okay.
Because of the 2 turns in a row of no stores.
Yeah. It's like 2%, isn't it? It's not huge.
It's not huge, but it's significant enough that I'm not thrilled about it.
No.
But these are also units that I'm prepared to lose. So having that as a come away from turn 4, that I'm now in a position to fully stock up my guys, I feel like I've become a master of logistics. I am the Genghis Khan of North Africa.
Okay.
And you are the Gavin King of North Africa.
Who's that?
That would be Genghis Khan's name if he was born now. If you were to transpose that to a sort of typical Western name, Khan being king.
Genghis being universal.
Close enough to Gavin.
No.
Yeah. It hits a lot of the strides that Gavin hits.
Genghis and Gavin don't have quite the same gravity. Sorry to any Gavins, it's more that Genghis has got a lot of weight to it.
Only because of Genghis Khan.
Yeah, but that's a big old only.
Yeah, but it's still...
Only because of one of the most, remarkable men who ever lived.
2-syllable G words. That's what we're looking at with both Gavin and Genghis.
Genghis.
Genghis. I'll edit out Genghis.
Okay.
I have the power. I never edit stuff out. I always say I'll edit this out, and I just keep it in. I go through the edit, and I go, well, I'm just going to keep this. Apart from when we've doxed people by accident, I edit that. We haven't done that in 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, we got better at that.
We're doing great with that.
Stay tuned for the mailbag segment. Maybe we'll slip up this week.
Oh, there's no promising. But we always catch it in the second line of defense.
Yeah. I think my supply, now I've got that supply dump at Sidi Barani.
Yeah.
That's opened up the southern desert area a lot.
Until I destroy it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you do destroy it, it's a real issue. But until then.
I'm just wondering how many engagements you can keep going without having to supply. Because if I can take off that supply dump, break up those supply lines a bit. I need to figure out who I'm going to put in the middle, though. Because I need to have someone who can cut off your supply line, which means being quite quick, but also can hold their own against likely a division or two.
Yes. Because I have also realized the way to get rid of a full division.
What, reliably?
Yeah.
What's the...
I'm not telling you.
This sounds like a uniform plan.
No, it's if they can't retreat without going through a zone of control.
Yeah.
They surrender. So if you can pincer...
Oh, that makes them surrender?
Because they can't... They have no valid retreat.
I thought it was that if you don't retreat, you take more percentage loss. If it's you can't or won't leave that hex.
I remember seeing something about if they have to retreat but can't because of zones of control. I'll have to look it up again, but...
We'll definitely double check that, because I remember my findings on the having to retreat is where we found you can opt not to and take the 10% hit. Yeah. And I'm sure the wording was won't or can't.
Right, yeah, we'll give that a double check. But if that does work, then I guess the positioning becomes more important.
Yeah, because if I can flank one of your guys, because that little pass down there where the escarpment is, that seems like prime position for me to box one of your guys in.
Yeah, I think because of the hexes, you'd need 3?
Yeah, you'd have to have a 3-pronged attack.
So you
can't just have one on either side.
No, because then they exit the other sides.
Although a nasty place to do that is again near the escarpment. If I come up 2 along the top, sort of northwest and northeast, and then you have to retreat up the escarpment.
Yeah, or pin someone against the sea.
Yeah, at which point they also, I guess, have to surrender because you can't swim your way out of that. Trucks are done. We moved on to initiative for the next turn. We haven't quite done all of the...
Yeah, we just wanted to see. So we still need to do the naval convoy and store expenditures, but we just wanted to know who was going first.
And I couldn't find my notebook with my naval convoy stuff in.
Yes.
Because we've made the horrible mistake during this practice run of slowly drifting from entirely digital records to stuff that's on scraps of paper, notebooks, the note section on my phone, which is another reason we can't really reliably broadcast all of the paper sheets. We had a comment on one of our episodes on Spotify asking if we have paper records or written records. And it's we do, but you'd have to accept them in 4 different forms at the moment. Yeah. And some of them, I don't know the date order of. I just know what the most recent one is, because it's the one at the latest point of my notebook that isn't full of either that or D&D combat stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't optimized that, but that's part of what's coming in the main game. So you once again have initiative.
Yes, I think that's going to be pretty consistent until you get the Germans. And then I think it's going to directly flip.
I think it is a 1-for-1 in terms of the plus.
Because you go from 1 to 5 if there's any Germans, 6 if there's Rommel.
Yes. So that's a big change.
Mine gradually goes up, but it's turn-based.
I think you might get another one at the least land.
Yeah, I think it's like turn 1 to 40 something. It's free, and then it goes 4, then 5.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that lines up with Fleeceland.
So you're now having to pick who goes first again.
Yes.
Now you could keep this pendulum going of people getting double turns. Or if you want to hit equilibrium again, I guess you have to do exactly that and give me another double turn where I go...
Oh, no, I can just go first.
No, you can. Yeah. Never mind. No, you're good. Yeah, you can just go back to it. So, what you're thinking so far?
I'm actually weighing it up because I think because it's quite static in terms of like the wall.
Yes.
I don't know. There might be a benefit to letting you go first and then reacting.
Yes, seeing what I do with my guys.
Yeah, because I do have the 6th now.
Yes, they've come along. They're on map C now.
Yes, so are the Polish and the 60. So I basically got everyone who's going to be fighting. Like, there's no one left to come.
Yes, you've got the 7th and 4th that are hanging around the top of the escarpment.
Yes.
You've got the 2nd New Zealand that are in that little strip along the north coast.
Yep.
Pinned by the escarpment. And then you've got the new guys that have come along that are just sat just on the cusp of map C, I believe it is. So
yeah, they're at City Barani now.
4 divisions.
Yeah. But the 2nd New Zealand and the 6th Australian are missing like a 3rd.
Okay, cool. So they're not at full strength at all then?
No, that comes later in the reinforcement tables.
So
but like quite a while.
4 divisions versus... I mean, to rattle some of mine off, I've got 3 black shirt divisions that are full, because the 3rd black shirt's on the full division. 3 black shirts, 2 Libyan, Mileti, 62nd and 63rd. So that's what, 8, 9 divisions?
I vaguely remember you having 9 before.
Yeah, so I've got, like double the amount of divisions that you have.
Yeah.
One of the black shirts and one of the Libyan are whittled down now to a stump.
Yeah.
And the Mileti are taking heavy hits as well. So we're getting to the point where I've got realistically 6 divisions that are in full effect.
Yeah. I will say I think division for division I'm better off.
The actual divisions, yes.
Yeah, I think like the 4th and the 7th are probably the 2 most dangerous divisions on the map.
Yes.
It's just limited to only being 2 divisions.
Well, I don't think I've had a proper clash with the 7th when they've been at full strength. I think I've only ever fought them when they've had units broken off from them.
Last turn, this turn you did, I guess.
Well, in the
when I've been like attacking.
Yeah, but what I've been doing in retaliation is usually with like 1 actual strength point.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not really been a good way to measure the 1-for-1 comparison. It's been how well can they hold up against a landslide.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the answer is surprisingly well. They took only a quarter of the losses that you did. Sorry, they took 4 times the losses that you did. A quarter would be, at that point, the 7th.
That's a very bad exchange for me.
It's turning out to be a tactic that is working out pretty well. I'm happy with the way it's going. Turn 4 has been an interesting one because the pendulum has swung and now you're on the attack.
Yes.
You're coming into map C with eyes on Bardia and Tobruk. What do you think turn 5 has in store for us?
I think either if the line sort of, I've not disrupted it or made any progress against it by the end of turn 5, I'm probably not going to.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a test to see if that line can hold.
3 op stages to break that line.
Yeah.
You need to fracture that line in some way for Tobruk and Bardia to be a realistic objective.
Yes. I do, fortunately, I've got my Air Force has got a big upswing because the SGSUs that the Libyans killed are back.
Yes.
And they're actually at the airfields, so they're ready to go.
And by the same merit, my airfields are pretty well stocked. I've got a lot of my bombers from Map A that have been left unavailable for like turns at this stage, they are now back in play.
Yeah, so we're going to get maybe an upswing in Air Force.
I think we're going to see a lot more air missions this coming turn. I can also continue to scale that up again because I've got more trucks available now. The fact that I've got stores to everyone I need, and I've also made a little dip into a nearby village to drop off some supplies along that, the wall along Hellfire Pass.
Yeah.
I've now used one of those villages as a supply dump.
Oh, nice.
So I don't need to worry about feeding ammo in too much when I can just instead have a guy dip out and replace after a fight.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, I can break off one of my bigger truck convoys and do just a big sweep round and get more bombers involved.
Yes.
So I think my bombing run is going to be... It's going to be a scary one, this coming up stage. I think you're going to remember what these bombing runs used to look like. This is going to be a callback to turn 1 and 2, where it was hell for leather with those airstrikes.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got a couple of things up my sleeve. We'll see if they pay off.
So you feel confident going into turn 5? Or tentative?
I'm not... I've got a plan and I think it might work, but again, I think it's like best odds of 50-50 maybe.
Yeah.
So like not... It'll be like it'll come down to some dice rolls and like who gets a bit lucky, I guess. But yeah, because if I had a surefire 100%, I'd be much happier. But
yeah, we could be looking at some nasty turns. I think we're going to end up with a couple of combats where the modifier is more or less smack bang in the middle, which is where we can start seeing some heavy losses on both sides.
I will say, fortunately for me, my morale and cohesion situation is extremely good.
Yes, significantly better than mine. When I was talking about your 7th and their cohesion being dropped, you'd mentioned when we were playing that their cohesion was 10.
Yeah.
So even dropping that down to +7, when some of my guys are at best on, and this is best, +2.
Yeah.
So,
and also your morale seems to just be a bit lower in general, which makes sense for these Italian and colonial troops.
Yeah, morale is -2 or -3 on pretty much every unit.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got any that are plus.
Oh,
off the top of my
none.
head. I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
I've got some that are -1. Yeah, I don't think I've got any that are positive.
Ooh.
So it means going into these combats, I need to account for that. I need to be adding an extra actual point or two.
Well, 6, basically.
Well, yeah, if I want to swing it directly over.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to keep it in a sort of fair balance. Yeah. Which is where pinning your guys comes in very handy. Removing whole battalions.
Yes, that's a big one.
And just good positioning. 2 divisions on 1 is what I really need to be looking at.
Yes.
If I'm fighting you 1-on-1 division-wise, I'm not going to withstand that very well. I need to be doubling up.
I do have a thing where depending if how the plan goes, I might take Tobruk but not Bardia.
That's a bit of a wild strategy. I don't know how that would pan out. I don't even know how you would maneuver that apart from swinging up through Fort Madalena and then cutting up north. But that's so much open desert with, and I promise you this, no resources to pick up on the way, that I think you just get to the gates and all I need to do is shuffle my guys up along that road from Bardia to Tobruk.
Yeah.
And then I've got a wall held.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. Because it's more that there's so many things about Bardia, around Bardia, that it might be better to just sort of leapfrog it.
I guess, yeah, the benefit I have is that road along the top. I can just dart between the two. I can just hold half of them at Bardia, move the rest of them up to take on a resource-starved 7th and 4th, and battle it out there.
Yeah.
And if that's where I need to hold it, then hold it I shall.
Yeah.
Because your 2/3 strength, New Zealand and Australians, I don't think can take on the other half that I leave behind.
I guess we'll see.
We'll have to.
Yeah. Also, I need to double check because it's a new turn. Reinforcement, see if anything's come in. Because this is probably the last, I guess, for you. It takes so long to get from Tripolitania and Tripoli that any reinforcements aren't going to be useful.
No, the only guys that I have that are coming along are the 410 Army, which it's sort of a shell unit.
Right.
They've been making their way over for the whole game. I don't think they won't make it to the front line. Not unless I send some trucks over to motorize them. They're also not that great. They've got a good tow value, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think maybe I've got some planes, but I could be wrong with that as well. I think I might actually just be at the end state.
I think I've had my last planes.
That could be it then. I guess bearing in mind transfer missions, if you want to get them to an airfield that is viable for operations.
Oh, yeah. Fortunately, mine arrive in Cairo or Alexandria, which do have airfields.
Yes.
But I guess if they're fighters, then too far away. So, yeah, you would need to transfer them over.
Well, all that to come in turn 5. The last third of the practice scenario, Andy.
Yeah. Whew.
God, how time flies.
Okay, I'm getting... Oh, I do get something.
Yeah?
7th Infantry Battalion. So that's an infantry battalion, so probably not getting to the front. And then an influx of 20 medium trucks and 5 lights as well.
All right, the trucks are good.
The trucks are a nice one.
Yeah, trucks are the bane of my life. Although now I'm back on good terms with my trucks.
Yeah, you've turned your sort of truck hatred around from the first turn or two.
I feel like I very much have Stockholm syndrome of the trucks, where now that something is going well for one op stage, one turn, I feel like all of a sudden I'm king of the world. I feel like I'm top trucker. It's like the opposite of ice road truckers.
Yeah.
Because it's a desert road.
Probably a less entertaining show.
I think it would be good.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
I'd give it a watch, yeah.
I'd especially watch it if it meant that I win this game. But I don't know that translates.
It doesn't feel like a transferable skill.
No. I don't know that I have any transferable skills that apply to this game apart from wasting my time.
But that's the only one you need.
I feel like there's definitely more. That's definitely a foundation.
So shall we get some listener mail?
I suppose another good thing, yes. Let's look into the mailbag. We're talking about foundations. This is what the whole podcast is built on. Accountability. Getting us through to the end of this. And it's worked thus far. Now it's time to see it through to the last third. So let's see what's coming. The mailbag. Not to be confused with different things that hold digital information. Such as, my first thought was email inbox, so it is exactly that.
Yep.
It's an email inbox with emails in. Who we got first?
We got Joseph. Hello from Chemist.
Cool, so you have just doxed.
Fuck.
Wow. Not even a joke.
We've got Joseph.
Oh, fuck's sake. Cool. Days without doxing will rub off the whiteboard. Mark that to 0.
Oh, God.
Fucking hell.
Hello from a chemist in America. Synthetic rubber for tires. That's the subject. Hello, Andy and James. Found your podcast by a Reddit post sent by a friend. This friend and others and I are trying to get together regularly and have some passing interest in war games, including Undaunted Stalingrad and Axis and Allies.
They sound like child's play.
I think I started listening to the podcast as a joke to check it out, but soon found myself enamored with your guys' banter and friendship.
Oh, good save.
Yeah. I binged to catch up, including a 12-hour road trip and a U-Haul to move my sister. You know, it was bad when you are the reason I finally broke down and downloaded Instagram. So
whoa.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's a big compliment. I don't think I've ever been committed to something to the point where I've downloaded a social media network to access information about it, so kudos, Joseph.
There we go. I think I caught up near episode 61 or 2 after about a month or 2 of listening. I believe episode 60 is where you said you were not that good at chemistry, so I had to write y'all, plus episode 68 begs for more emails.
Yeah, we went back into beg mode a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, love the use of y'all, another y'all. Put that in the y'all counter.
Yeah. I'm an industrial chemist in the southern US area with a thing for history on the side. I'm surprised SBI's campaign for North Africa does not include tires/rubber as a resource to be managed. Almost all rubber before World War II then was from latex from rubber trees grown on plantations. But that system was thrown into chaos as supply line and trade were disrupted leading up to World War II. Transitioning from natural/agricultural basis to chemical synthetic route is a very short number of years for a massive undertaking. I've seen written that if we hadn't been for the Manhattan Project, the synthetic rubber program would have been recognized as the largest and most advanced program run in World War II.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't know that, but that's, yeah.
Yeah, that is news to me.
It makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, making rubber and not having to grow it is a huge... Again, I don't know anything about chemistry. I was bad at chemistry in school.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the kind of yield is from a rubber plant compared to...
I know that they had a horrible system of getting it, so I'm glad they're not doing that.
Yeah, that's a bit of history that we've looked at. We've got a snapshot of that. Like a couple of years ago, we found out about that and the practices used by...
King Leopold of Belgium, let's just say he's a bit of a rotter.
Yeah, that history segment would be an upsetting one.
Early in the war, ethanol was converted to butane for rubber that went into tires. Later, butane technology would be utilized. Also, gotta say, I'm glad that must be part of stores. I'm so glad there's not a fifth. Oh, you need to manage the tires and work out how much of the tires have been worn away by like driving. Because you could see them, a whole system there for like...
I guess part of that's been abstracted into the breakdown rules.
Yeah.
It's safe to say it exists in some way. Maybe Richard Berg just ran out of time that evening.
He's probably looked at wear tables for tires and like changed the breakdown ratings depending.
There is, I imagine, in Richard Berg's secret journal of extended plans, there's probably tire wear that's in there somewhere. But thank God he didn't have the time to put it in the game.
As part of my career, I've worked for a company that had 2 sites constructed in the early 1940s for World War II to make synthetic rubber under the US Synthetic Rubber Program. Each site in the program has a Plan Corps designation under the Defense Plan Corporation. Many other Plan Corps sites were established all over the US for ethanol to butane, styrene monomer, rubber production, research and related technology. Netsch's butane company, Plan Corps 933 in Port Neches, Texas. That's just an example of one. I've attached a few pictures from a time when the plant was being constructed. Check them up on the Instagram.
Yeah. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look through them now. Wow, this is very much the vibe of stuff I wouldn't even begin to understand the fundamentals of it. But it looks, I mean, some of the stuff is huge, the equipment that's involved. Yeah, I don't know how long ago this was. That's a lot of filing cabinets as well.
1940s, apparently.
Yeah, whoa, massive filing cabinets.
And they, amazing to see these plants were built and running in just a couple of years. Scaffolding was just wooden structures around towers, and lifting cranes of our current scale were just a dream. We had vaults in our administration building that housed the designs and were labeled top secret property of the US government. Do you all have an address we could send reference documents, a P.O. box? You'd love to say, unfortunately, no. We might get one day, but not at the minute.
Yeah, physical mail would be a fun thing, because we've got a lot of people who've mentioned some sort of journals of family members and that sort of thing. Not that we would ever recommend sending the original, but copies or pictures, anything like that. So, watch this space.
So you'd love to send a copy of Synthetic Rubber, a project that had to succeed, by Vernon Herzog and Elito Bisio, as well as a book, The Devil's Milk, A Social History of Rubber.
That's a fun book title.
They're also, I probably will check these out because I love those like niche dive in on one thing and how it affects the like wider.
Yeah, I imagine a social history of rubber is not a book I would ever have read.
But would probably be fascinating.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where you'd probably finish it and go, now I understand how important rubber is.
Yeah.
And I'd look at rubber in a completely different light.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I would not care.
No.
So thank you for making rubber interesting, Joe.
Yeah. For the podcast, I'd like to make one suggestion. You have segments Common Ground and History segment, but I think the listener mailbag segment needs a name. How about Messages from Across the Sands or Messages from the Desert Winds or whatever you workshop? I really enjoy the two of you talk and explain the game. Please keep up the great work. Sincerely, Joe. Thanks very much for that email, Joe, and sorry for doxing you at the start. We'll make sure that gets bleeped.
Yes, no one will know because I've edited that out. No one will know your surname. But yeah, really cool stuff, Joe. Again, an area of science that I would have no interest in, but I will read into this because I like to, if someone's sent it over and it's in-depth, obscure stuff, I'll take an interest in that. I love stuff like that. Rubber, just again, looking through some of the pictures on here, huge machinery. What do you think about the mailbag segment, Andy? We're giving it a name.
I just think of it as the mailbag segment, but I guess that isn't actually that's just a description. So yeah, maybe we'll workshop some names.
Yeah, we'll put something together. We've already got the little sound effect for it. I feel like anything intro-wise apart from that might be a little bit too self-indulgent, but we can give it a name.
Yeah.
Everything deserves a name.
Quite like Messages from Across the Sands.
Messages from Across the Sands is cool. Messages from the Desert Winds. Maybe I can find a way to shoehorn in Deserts of My Minds into that. Just a nice way to force in something that I just really like for some reason. But thank you for that, Joe. I'm going off on a tangent about my own hubris. Next up, we have a message from Milan, who has been in touch with us before. And the email subject is, I'm a dad. The email reads, Hello, Andy and James. Milan from Texas again. It's always Texas. I'm happy to announce that I am officially a dad. Congratulations,
Congrats.
Milan. Fantastic work. Good work on the partnership and then the
daddening.
The daddening, the 9 months, which I imagine the 9 months probably more so your partner's job. But hey, I'm sure you were supportive. And listening to the podcast, that can only help you prepare for these things. If you think a podcast is a long, arduous thing for 50 years, just imagine raising a child, even more so. My first son was born healthy and relatively happy. I listened to episode 68 with him sleeping in my lap, marking his entry into the War with a Mate cinematic universe. That must be a very relaxing sleep, listening to our dulcet tones while having an infant rest on you. Speaking of episode 68, you guys mentioned doing events such as weddings, and James offered to come in full uniform. I just want to state that given he is playing the Germans, that coming in an appropriate uniform is a very, very bad idea. Andy, please make sure that never happens.
I'll try to make sure to avoid a sort of Prince Harry-esque lapse in judgment.
Yeah, I'd like. There's so many moving parts in having to get to that point of mistake. I'd like to think I'd catch it well before then.
At least in like the costume store, like.
Well, that's it. You have to buy.
There's so many times you could turn back.
And the thing is, I can't buy it from like an in-person thing. I have to place an order.
You surely... I don't want to go into a store that sells that.
Yeah. So it means that I'd probably have to go to a place that's not...
You have to probably
great.
buy it off the dark web.
So I guess, yeah, there's so many restrictions in place beforehand, I'd go, maybe this isn't a good idea. But regardless, it's nice to have the words spoken aloud, just in case. As for the game itself, it's exciting that the end of the practice round is on the horizon. Yeah, today, even more so an example of that. With the real game coming up, are either of you already making any hard plans for how you will play? I could see someone in your position having a separate document somewhere, planning supply lines and early troop movements. Now that I am a father, I strive to become more subtle, humble and brave every day. Milan. Well, I hope you succeed in that quest, and I'm sure you will. Listening to the podcast is a sign of good character and strength of spirit, as well as just a good moral centre. So I'm sure you'll do fantastic as a parent, and by all means, Milan, if you want to nominate your firstborn child as the heir when I die to continue playing the game.
Because he'll be in his early 30s by then, so...
Yeah, and your son will grow up with this podcast, learning how to play the game. So a champion born into this, the chosen one, a Paul Atreides sort of character, ready to take the mantle. is perfect for me. So I'm very glad that you've made that offer, Milan, and I graciously accept. Going back to the plan, Andy, do you have any hard plans for the start of the main game?
I don't have any hard plans. I do have a Google Doc where I've listed like mistakes or things to like keep in mind, but it hasn't turned into like a solid plan yet. It's more just like a brain dump.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position where I've not documented stuff maybe as structured as you. I've got a few notes on my phone for rough ideas, sort of general strategies, but it's all sort of like 5 or 6 different ways I could open the game. I just need to commit to one. And I think once we've finished up the practice run, especially now that I'm on the defensive, this is a new thing I can learn about, whether or not this defensive is particularly good, although everything I've had drummed into me since we started the game, or even before then, is go hard on the offensive. Don't,
like all the way back to the Echoes of War guys, just being like a general sort of rule for playing the Axis in games in general is go hard and fast, because you'll eventually lose on the production. You'll be like outproduced.
Yes. So I think that is something I'm looking at in a broad sense, but when it comes to hard plans and when it comes to supply lines, I will be doing that because I cannot afford to start the game the way I started this one. No. That's not a viable way to continue a campaign for North Africa. Will have to happen, but I guess the answer to your question is no. We don't have any hard plans, which is kind of a worrying thought now that I'm saying that part out loud.
I think I've got enough that when I come to plan it, I'll feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I know enough of my broad plan that I think I can come up with a solid strategy. How that works, completely different question.
And there's some of the like blaring mistakes I've been talking about from like early on, like should have put something in Siwa.
That's a big one. I think the bottom of the map is going to be a much more heavy combat zone than it was when we started.
Well, we've had no combat there because I just basically ceded it to you, which wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, it didn't have a whole lot apart from it being a tactical position that I've held and then moving up the Saharan detachment to try and cause trouble. They ended up surrendering en masse, so I guess no harm, no foul. But the game will look very different. Great emails, though. Thank you both for sending those in. Congrats again on fatherhood, Milan. I'm sure it'll be great.
Congratulations.
And anyone who wants to send anything over, whether it's another child announcement, we can do gender reveals if you like. We can. we're willing to be godfathers. We've got.
Nope.
You can.
Gonna take my hat out of that ring.
Well, it's not really fair for you to do that now that I've said it.
I guess we'll have to live with some unfairness.
No, you'll just have to live with the responsibility of several children under your care if the parents meet an untimely demise. But if not, if it's anything more lighthearted than that you want to direct to both of us, then you can do so at our email inbox, which is info@warwiththemate.co.uk, the website, warwiththemate.co.uk, or our Instagram, which is just warwiththemate. Other interactions you may have, we have our first live show coming up at the UK Games Expo, May 30th. Times to follow, but if you're at the UK Games Expo, stop on by. It'll be a swell time, or we'll bomb. It'll be one of the two.
Also, if anyone is going, please just fire a message in, even if it's not to like read out on the show, just to maybe get a sense of if anyone who listens will be there.
Yeah, just so we know, I guess, how to gear this. Is it going to be a lot of people who already know us, or are we pitching ourselves for the very first time again?
That one.
It's going to be that one. But we'll organise something. Some sort of meet and greet. We'll greet and we'll meet. We'll tell you our horrible stories of the game.
Yeah, and the things that don't make it onto the pod.
That's, to be fair, I'm
We're pretty
candid.
open.
I'm very candid, Andy. I tell everything. But if we were to take away from my candour, how about you get candid, Andy? You tell stories that maybe, dare I say, aren't even yours to tell. And I'm not talking about the surname of the email that we get. I'm talking about, of course, the history segment.
Yes.
Let's delve into the past.
Yeah. The men of the long-range desert patrols were quite a sight on their return to Cairo from a month's trip to Libya. The contrast between the east and west of the Nile is very marked. In the east, the country... At this point, I gave little thought to my future, but had always been interested in boats on the sea. I am more or less in the position of a captain in command of a ship, which is on the point of sinking because errors are present.
We are absolutely not qualified to share views on history. When and where are we?
We're back with the Ottomans.
They are great. Comfortable. They can store things. And a lot more history than I thought seating would have.
Yes. Just before we jump into the history segment, a slight mention of our D&D things. In one campaign, we did get an Ottoman that gave us advantage on charisma checks and lugged that thing everywhere in one of the most off-putting ways possible.
Yeah, I remember that. You guys
We'd go into a meeting and just put their chairs away and get on Ottomans.
Then you'd sit down on it. It gave you was it advantage on charisma checks?
Yeah, it was really powerful. That's why we fucked around with it so much.
Because I'd like to think it's not one of the sort of foldy out the compact. Ottomans.
No.
We're talking because that campaign was the
Victorian London after the alien invasion one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like a one where you can collapse.
No.
It's just carrying around a full Ottoman and then plonking it down in someone's office. They're great.
But enough about D&D, I guess. Some history.
Some actual history.
I, the Sultan of Sultans, and the strongest ruler, the loftiest king who defeats the kingdoms around the world, and the shadow of Allah in the earth. I'm the son of Sultan Selim, who is the son of Sultan Bayezid, who is the son of Sultan Suleiman, Caesar of Rome, the Sultan of the Mediterranean Sea, and Black Sea, and Thrace, and Anatolia, and Karam, and the city of Dulkarin, and Kurdistan, Iran, Damascus, and Aleppo, Egypt, and Mecca, and Medina, and Jerusalem, and the whole Arab land and Yemen, and many more lands that our lofty ancestors conquered with their crushing power, and I conquered with my fire-scattering sword. That's Suleiman the Magnificent saying what we're all thinking.
I half expected, after last week, for this guy to be called John Sultan. I was waiting for a punchline on that, but Magnificent, I guess, that's a fair title. He's got a lot to his name.
Yes.
So, fair enough.
So, last time the Ottomans had appeared in Libya in 1551, they'd taken over the coast. You've got Janissaries administering, gathering taxes. The economy is primarily piracy, but also tribute from inland tribes, exporting a lot of salt. And the Ottomans also opened up the cross-desert trade caravans, which facilitated trade with the rest of Africa overland. So in Libya, the Ottomans are willing to let the region get on with it as long as the taxes keep flowing. The main pirate cities are Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli. Their power rose to the point that in 1611, the pirate leaders got together and put on a coup, replacing the appointed Ottoman leader with one of their own leaders. Despite this, they remain part of the Ottoman Empire. They just sort of have a regional thing and are like, we don't like the guy you put in charge, but we'll stay. It's like a weird coup.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a weird arrangement to have.
Yeah. So they get a few effective rulers in a row until 1670, when you get 8 different leaders in a 10-year span. The Pasha, which is the governor appointed by Constantinople, is reduced to a pretty much entirely ceremonial role.
Okay, so they've really knocked that down then.
Yeah. So we're going to take a slight detour. We've done some broad sweep stuff, so we're going to focus in on a specific event here. The village of Balmore on the south coast of Ireland on the 19th of June, 1631. A ship waits offshore. The crew's leader, Murad Ras, went ashore to scout, looking to avoid any serious resistance. When he returns, he declares, "We have found a good spot. This will be a good trip." 200 hardened pirates go over the side into the fleet of smaller boats. They descend on this unsuspecting town in silence before Murad Res lets out a battle cry. Chaos reigns as pirates break their way into houses, dragging residents into the street, screaming at the villagers in a patchwork of Turkish, Arabic, and English that they have to go to the harbour and be loaded onto boats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The pirate drums boom out, signaling a withdrawal. Ships from the British Navy will be there soon, but not soon enough. Murad has captured 22 men, 33 women, and 54 children. They're crammed into the cargo hold, and the pirates head south towards the North African slave markets. During this journey, the Irish prisoners notice something curious, as well as Arabs and North Africans in the crew. It also contains many Europeans, including their captain, a 61-year-old hardened former privateer for the Dutch, formerly called Jan Jansoen, who himself had been captured by Barbary pirates at one point and then converted to Islam, becoming a pirate captain.
Oh, that's an interesting move to go from slave to, slaver.
Yeah. It's also I think it's sort of an indicative thing of the Ottomans of like, well, if you show up and like give us value,
then you can be part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you're like we're a Dutch Christian if you're willing to convert.
Yeah.
Again, it's the like openness of it. So you've got mentioned the Jews being expelled from Spain. You've got like Jewish pirates, Arabs, Europeans, just all.
Anyone who's willing to go pirate will be invited into the pirate ecosystem.
Yeah. And they're kind of pirates, kind of privateers. So some of it's sanctioned by the Ottomans against their enemies like the Spanish, French, Portuguese. Some of it's just they're going places and kidnapping people.
Yeah, which seems less sanctioned.
Yeah, because what I just described there wasn't an uncommon or particularly special event at all. Thousands of raids happened like that over 3 centuries. So despite instability, the Corsairs are capturing hundreds of ships. The free pirate havens, Tripoli has the smallest fleet, which is 14 ships, whereas Algiers has 40. Over a 300-year period, they'll take 1.5 million slaves from European coasts.
Fuck, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Population-wise as well back then.
Yeah.
That's a huge swathe of the
These
population.
guys are like, they affect like global economics. Like there's treaties with these guys trying to handle like their effect on shipping. Countries end up paying them just tribute.
I mean, yeah, you'd have to if they're showing up and taking. I mean, that's like a couple hundred people.
That's like 100 people there, and then just doing that over and over and over. Yeah,
yeah, that's a huge swathe of the population being hit with that kind of tragedy.
Yeah, so that's what's happening on the Libyan coast. Just to whiz back over to the Ottoman Empire to give you a sense of what's going on with them as well. This period, so like the up to 1566, around this period, is a golden age for the Ottomans under Suleiman the Magnificent. Its use of gunpowder makes it one of the best militaries in the world. They also have one of the best admirals ever, Grand Admiral Barbossa.
Oh.
Barbarossa, but...
Oh, for a moment there, I was like, I know this guy.
Yeah. So they control most of the Eastern Mediterranean. They're also fighting the Portuguese in the Mediterranean, in the Indian Ocean, and the Spanish. They're just fighting these guys constantly. Suleiman also creates the Kanun-i Osmani, Ottoman laws, where he consolidates all the rulings and like disparate laws they've had for the previous 300 years and makes like a single codified law.
Oh, really condensing it down.
Yeah. So among
Magna Carta in it.
Yeah. So among he's the Magnificent. They also gets called the Lawgiver.
He's got a lot of names, this guy.
Yeah, this guy was a very interesting guy because it's also a golden age of architecture, art, and culture. Suleiman himself is a poet who publishes under the pen name Muibi, which means lover.
Oh, yeah. He's got a bit of a romantic streak in him.
Yeah. Well, also, he had a lot of wives, but one of his wives was a consort from his harem who, like, against tradition in a lot of ways, he freed and married.
So you got freed, married, died, freed, married, survived.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bit of, I guess, it's his slave. Let's not give him too much credit.
Yeah, maybe romance isn't the right word.
Yeah. He creates loads of schools and colleges everywhere, increasing education, and also creates the community of the talented, which is what it says on the tin, basically. It's a high-end guild in the palace itself with, like, the best craftsmen from the entire empire. They'll get, like, Renaissance artists and stuff to come in. Suleiman himself, as well as a poet and a warlord and a sultan, is also a goldsmith.
Oh, wow.
He is,
what
like...
a Renaissance man.
Yeah, and I think that is... I guess they don't get considered in it, in, like, the European sense, but they're very much a European power. Like, they're getting... The guys who are doing, like, the jewelry for various European royalty are doing theirs. Like, European courts are dressing in Ottoman styles. They're not, like, the barbaric threat to the East they get, like, portrayed as. They're, like, very integrated into European culture at this point.
Yeah, because if they've got that much of a wide reach, and you've got all these people who are being valued for their actual skills, then you must have an output of high-quality goods, I would expect.
Yeah.
Because if they're also accessing things by means of these sort of raids as and when, then they're probably getting in high-quality materials, high-quality goods are being put out, so I don't see why the world wouldn't make use of that.
Yeah.
It's not like anywhere in the world has ever been above doing that.
No.
And making trade with people who may not gel with them, or the fact that they're committing evil acts. That seems like they would.
And they're also there on the European end of... and this is a big problem for a lot of Europe in their minds, is they're the gateway between Asia and Europe.
Yeah.
So the Silk Road runs through their empire. So, like, all the trade from Asia, they're getting a cut off for a long time. Up until the Age of Discovery, when they find the Horn of Africa.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why they're fighting the Portuguese in the Indian Ocean. Because the Portuguese are like, we're going to go and sail around and grab the stuff and sail it back ourselves and not give you a cut. And they're like, fuck that. So yes, but Suleiman dies in 1566 at the age of 71 at the siege of Sizgef. This is before the Ottoman victory, and what should happen is he dies. Everyone goes back to Constantinople to, like, have the new Sultan sorted out. But his Grand Vizier keeps his death secret until the battle's won, and, like, releases a bunch of, like, pronouncements pretending to be him until they, like, win the battle.
He's Weekend at Bernieing's the wall.
Yeah, which feels like some very Vizier type stuff.
It's very Vizirial.
Yeah. So his death ushers in the sort of end of a golden age and the expansionist era. It isn't the largest the empire will ever be, but it's sort of the height of it in terms of culture, economy, how it is relative to the rest of Europe and Asia. So the Devrisham system we mentioned last time with the Janissaries.
Yes.
This is where this starts to break down. For one, mass production of firearms means cavalry kind of becomes obsolete.
Okay, yeah.
Which
makes sense.
You go from having, like, very expensive, highly trained cavalry with, like, your knights and stuff to, that money would be better spent giving 1,000 guys a musket. Yeah. So armies get bigger as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you're not spending as much on
like, your cost per guy is lower.
Yes.
Which is a problem for them, because they, every 4 to 7 years, go and collect a bunch of kids and then, like, train them for 20 years. Which, when you're trying to, like, field a massive army...
Isn't a sustainable recruitment method.
So it's losing its military impact, and also the Janissaries have got enough power at this point that they're marrying and having kids, and they want to give their sons and their children their positions. So it was designed to get rid of, like, nobility, but just slowly sort of metastasized into a different type of nobility. With all the weaknesses that come with that. And their economy is also really struggling. So America becomes a trade force in the world. They're getting all these goods from the New World, silver in particular, causing inflation. The changing trade routes I mentioned just means they're losing a lot of their issues, and they're in constant conflict. I've not gone through all their wars, but basically... if they're around, they're at war with 2 to 3 superpowers at a time, basically.
They don't seem the quiet type.
No. They're constantly fighting the Habsburgs in Northern Europe. So, like, Hungary, but the Habsburgs are just Northern Europe, so they're just fighting Northern Europe.
Right.
The Catholic Church, so like Spain, Portugal, they don't like them because they're a Muslim empire and also a major trade enemy.
Yeah.
So
you've got a theological difference as well as a material impact on their economy as well.
So they're constantly fighting these wars that aren't the kind of wars where you like refill your coffers at the end by looting everything. You're not like getting, so they're just whittling down the treasury. So yeah, the Ottomans have had a golden age. They're in a stagnation period, and we'll see if they turn it around next time. So yeah, we'll do decline and run up to World War One for the Ottomans next time, and then whip over and do some Barbary pirate wars after that.
Hey, a little bit of piracy. I guess I wouldn't like to be part of piracy, but it's fun stories.
Yes, we don't get too into what's actually going on.
Yeah, if you look at it with squinted eyes,
yes,
then it's a really cool story.
Yeah.
If you look directly at it, it looks back with an ugly face.
Yeah.
Well, what I do know, spoilers wise, is the Ottoman Empire doesn't make it all the way.
No,
because you can't pop over to the Ottoman Empire these days.
No,
you can't visit and have your goldsmith Sultan, who also is a poet, provide some fine garbs for you. That's not an option these days. So I guess we'll see what the cutoff is and how they decline, because I don't know the exact hows and whys and whens.
Yeah.
I just know the end result of they aren't here anymore.
And it is interesting in a way, because a lot of European powers hate them, obviously, because of the piracy and the wars.
I wouldn't like that. I'd be against that.
So there's that, but then there's also we're building colleges and universities and public works. It's like a juxtaposition. Is that it's like a dichotomy between the violence and the culture of it, which sort of exists in every empire, but I think it's quite pronounced.
My empire would be very, very easy to get on with. It'd be a really friendly empire.
Just the chill guys empire.
Yeah, you just want to hang around them. Would be really nice. There wouldn't be there'd be fun piracy, but it wouldn't be any of the dark stuff. It would just be quite lighthearted.
Yeah.
We'd be on boats, of course. That's the key part of piracy.
Boat empire.
Yeah, boats, setting sail, cannons would be involved, but it would be in a fun way.
Yeah.
You'd want to be involved in a pirate ship fight because nothing bad happens. You get hit with a cannonball, you go to a farm.
I think you just want to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
I don't think I do, because I don't have a good relationship with the Assassin's Creed games.
Fair enough.
I played the first one, and then I had lots of people tell me the rest of them are really good, so I decided to not play the rest.
The old spite.
You know what? I don't even think it's spite. I just think there's something about someone telling me something is great. It turns me off from it. It makes me think it's not worth getting involved in because there's too much pressure. I'll just be sat there the whole time thinking, well, this has to be great. Or A, I just won't fit in with everyone else's taste. Or B, it's just bad. And everyone's going to be annoying about it. And they're going to say, oh, what did you think of it? And I'll go, oh, it was all right. And they go, oh, what about this part where Jon Snow did this? And I'll be like, well, I guess that was all right. And look, don't get me wrong. Game of Thrones is good for a lot of it. It's great in some parts. But by the end, I was corralled into watching it right as the last season was coming out.
That's bad timing.
So catching up all the way through thinking, this is a really good show, actually. I quite like this. And then getting to the end and that being the conclusion. What a rug pull.
You should watch The Night of the Seven Kingdom. It's really good.
Yeah, but I've played these games before. I have watched House of the Dragon.
That's going to be all right.
First couple seasons.
Yeah.
So you've watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but you haven't watched House of the Dragon.
Yes.
It's interesting. Went a bit out of order there.
Well, House of the Dragon felt like more of the political overarchy house contest stuff.
Definitely that.
Whereas Night of the Seven Kingdoms is more like a focused, primarily on two characters in the ensemble.
Yeah. To be fair, House of the Dragon is kind of like that.
Yeah.
It also sort of narrows it down a bit, where it does feel a lot more like you're focusing on this 1/2 families.
Yeah.
And everything else is kind of on the peripheral. But yeah, I don't know. I've been stung once before. I don't know that I'll go back.
Fair enough.
Being stung hurts, Andy.
It does.
Being hurt by a friend hurts more. stabbed in the back, stabbed in the front. Every week is what I get from you. Just this constant barrage of, sometimes literal barrage, and this trickery, this skullduggery. I'm sick of it. Sick to my back teeth. What's sick?
No, skullduggery.
Skullduggery.
I like when you break out skullduggery.
Yeah, I try not to use it too often because it's a fun one.
Yeah.
Got to keep the potency of it. And to keep the potency of our friendship, there's only one way to do it.
Got some common ground. What you got for us?
Some common ground. Common ground is, of course, the segment in which we come together to find a unified place, somewhere where we can become friends again in the midst of this sandy, sandy war. And I've got a suggestion, Andy. Maybe you can meet me in the middle.
Okay, what you got for me?
And now for something nicer. A little oasis in the war. It's time for some common ground. I'm trying the intro for common ground. I'm recording it. Maybe. Yeah. My common ground this week, it stems from experiences from earlier this month.
Okay.
And my common ground is that on April Fool's Day, we should shut down the stock markets to allow businesses to make for some really, really experimental April Fool's Day jokes.
Okay. That's interesting because we're going to come at this from where I thought you were going was companies aren't allowed to get involved in this anymore. But no, I like this. Let's go for it.
Well, that was what you just mentioned there is where I originally came from this.
Yeah.
Because I saw there was a weird trend this year, and it was sort of very tepid because the thing that happened was, and people probably saw a bit of this on the news or social media is probably the most likely source of the Kit Kat heist.
Oh, was that not real?
No, so that was real. I believe that was real.
Oh, okay.
Unless I've been duped double. So
because that's a fun heist.
It was something like 11 tons of Kit Kats was stolen.
It was like millions.
I think wasn't it? Millions of actual Kit Kats, yeah. And loads of companies then put up stuff like McDonald's, I think, put up one where they were like, oh, we're so sorry to see that the Kit Kat heist happened and now we've got a Kit Kat McFlurry or Kit Kat pie. Don't ask us where we got the Kit Kats. And then other companies followed suit and there was a lot of Kit Kat-centric stuff.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of bands put up a lot of stuff in terms of we've been hit with a lawsuit. We now have to change our name. So we'll be changing our name to such and such. Funny play on words. One band that I follow, Punk Rock Factory, they do covers of like Disney songs and they'll do punk rock versions of Disney songs.
All right.
And they put up a statement where they were like, we've been sued by Disney. We can't make any more songs. It all felt very samey.
Yeah.
Everything felt like it was so gentle. And I was just like, well, if you're not going to go the whole hog, then don't do it at all. And then I was thinking, why are they doing this? Rather than exclude them from it, why not find out what's making it so boring and dull? Because the reason they're doing this and saying, Kit Kat heist, they clearly didn't commit a Kit Kat heist. Of course not. And instead they put in, we've got a funny product that's Kit Kat themed. Lynx, the deodorant, I think it's Axe in other countries.
Yeah.
They put up one where they were like, they've got a
new Kit Kat flavored deodorant or something.
Yeah, they've got a chocolate one, which is like Dark Temptation or something. And they called it like Double Dark Temptation and had pictures of Kit Kats on the can. And it's like, cool, but I know this isn't a prank. This is a joke.
Yes.
You haven't fooled me. You've told a joke.
Yes. Okay. Here's what I'm going to suggest. Because a lot of those things you're mentioning probably didn't happen on April's Fools. They're like McDonald's, like, oh, wink, wink, where did we get the Kit Kats?
Yeah.
No more Twitter accounts where it's like a brand pretending to be like a personified thing and then they like talk to each other. Yeah, you know, like when like Wendy's or Burger King will tweet at McDonald's or something.
Yeah, stuff like that. I think you have to exclude that from that joke.
Like just getting rid of that. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Companies' Twitters are only for like, we have a product.
Okay, that plays into this.
But April Fools,
they can go convincingly.
Go for it, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so we're
that works.
Because part of it is they're putting out a low level of nonsense all the time.
Yeah, just
let's
really
focus it.
Yeah, really gentle approach, because then you have these... Ryanair did a good one. It was a good spin on things where... I don't know if anyone's seen Ryanair, the airline company, budget airlines, and their social media presence is a very good one. The company itself practices very questionable, very entertaining social media presence, because they will just put out the most wild, like, TikTok videos and posts, really funny stuff.
Yeah.
And then on April Fool's Day, they put up a statement where it was like, our brand outreach has been personified in a very particular way. Going forward, we will be much more professional. We're very sorry.
Right.
And I thought that was funny, because you could read that and go, oh, wow, they've decided
it's
to put
actually
that out.
a prank.
Yes. And then you realize what day
could
it is.
Fool someone.
If it doesn't boil down to you look at the date and go, oh, it wasn't real, then it's not an April Fool's Day joke.
Well, this is a general thing. I don't think people understand pranks anymore because there's like videos of like...
Yes.
Where people will be like, oh, I'm going to like pretend to throw my baby off a balcony and then my wife's going to freak out. And it's like, she's acting entirely correctly with the information she had. Like, a prank should be like you weave a false reality so someone's actions are incongruous.
Yes.
And that's the... Well, that feels like what a prank should be, not just doing anything you eventually have to defend as a social experiment. Just don't do it.
You picked out the exact same example I had in my mind when you started to say people have forgotten what pranks are, because that was that YouTube guy, Roman something.
Yeah.
Who, that was a few years ago. Yeah, he had like a doll, and they had like a young child, like a toddler, and he pretended to like throw this toddler over a balcony. And I'd like to think the whole thing was staged and that he never put his wife through that, because that is genuinely deranged.
It's trauma.
Yeah, there's no level of this is funny where you can just
counteracts the... Yeah.
That's genuinely messed up. I actually remember an occasion where, this is a different scale, when you came round to my place for D&D years ago, and you showed up, and I was like, oh yeah, sorry, we can't do D&D today. You're just gonna have to head back home. And you're like, oh, okay. And I was like, April Fools, we're still doing D&D. And you were like, that feeling of, oh, I have to go home, we're not doing our hobby today, was worse than the reveal of, oh, we are actually still playing it. And it's that. It's when the like funny moment afterwards of, oh,
doesn't pay off.
Yeah, it's, oh, I've been had. But if that is massively outweighed by the negative that you feel, and that negative as well, you say people misunderstand what pranks are, that massively now comes from people not knowing what a prank is, because being horrible to people or making people feel uncomfortable or upset isn't a prank. You can make people feel a little bit caught off guard, and you can, pull the rug out from under them, and they can feel maybe a bit embarrassed or silly. But if they don't get a big laugh from that, then it isn't a prank. It's bullying that you video.
Yeah.
And you hope that then maybe you're going for the utilitarian approach of, I'm going to get more laughs overall that balance out based on Mill's measure of utilitarianism. That's not a prank.
No.
So with these companies, we strip this back, we get rid of the risk for them, and we make it so that they can do anything on April Fool's Day without an impact on their stock.
So... I don't think they actually do. Like, it's basically a bank holiday.
Sort of, yeah.
But for... Basically, so there's going to be no reactions to, like... Or any, like, thing of, like, oh, that's a stock manipulation.
Yes. It means by the time the market opens, people have come to the realization, or should come to the realization, this was a joke.
Yeah.
So you can start having jokes that feel significant. McDonald's can put out something where it's a product... Or they can do something that's going to be, a bit more risky. They can say something like, from now on, and I think stuff like this would be funny because it pokes fun, I think, at people's expectations, where maybe they go, from now on, all of our food will be vegan only. And
yes.
What you're going to do then is pick up people who are
Because then the people who are like getting negatively affected by it are like humorless. Like, how dare there not be meat in everything?
Yeah.
Like, that is someone like, yeah, like make fun of that attitude a bit.
Because that's it. I think if you spin it the other way, it maybe becomes a bit more detrimental. Because if you rid the idea of like a vegan or vegetarian option, you're getting rid of an inclusive element.
Yeah.
But if you just say, oh, well, we're only going to do vegan, then people who are like, well, I want my meat. What do you do with my meat? And then afterwards they go, oh, I see what I've done.
I've got way too upset about something I shouldn't have.
Yeah, I've got on my high horse, and yeah. And I know people they'll all flood to make an argument for it. But then afterwards, when they realize it's a joke, there's no moment where someone kind of goes, well, I can't eat here anymore. You just have a bunch of people going, well, I won't eat there anymore.
Yeah.
It becomes entirely choice influenced. And by the end of that day,
they're
realize
not going to hold on to it.
So nothing matters.
It's also a good way to trial stuff sometimes, because I don't know if you know about this, but you know there was a World of Warcraft expansion called like the Mists of Pandarian.
No.
It was like there was all these panda-themed races, but they initially like introduced the concept as part of like April Fool's stuff, and then people just liked it, so they made one of the full expansions about it.
All right.
So it's also a way of like, maybe we can like float a silly idea, see... Does this have some hooks on it? Like, are people like, I wish this wasn't April Fool's?
And then you get huge positive reception and go, oh, well, actually...
Let's give it a go.
And the best part about this is the fact that they can make these risky changes with no risk to their business. My favourite part of that is that it's an April Fool's Day joke.
Yeah.
And the stock markets are open.
Yes, very good.
So all of these companies... that deserve scrutiny and deserve to be punished for trying to play into the social zeitgeist. They do all this. They've been told the stock markets are closed, and then they get absolutely fucked because they look at their stock value. They realize, oh my God, we've plummeted. We've tried to make a big joke. It has not landed well. Our value has crashed.
They did think we were all going vegan, and everyone's offloaded. Like...
And then next year, maybe they think about it. Maybe they shouldn't be involved.
Maybe they
in
just
this.
don't do it.
Maybe they aren't actually fun guys. Maybe they are corporations that are really... They're taking us for a ride. So we're gonna put it back on them. And I think rightfully so. And that is the common ground, Andy. That we're going to get back at them.
I liked the April Fool's reversal. I'm a big fan of this. I like tricking companies.
I think it's one of the best things that a person can do. If you can pull the wool over the eyes of a huge business and then they end up really upset by it, I think that's very funny.
Yes.
That really gets a chuckle out of me. So if by the end of April Fool's Day, a corporation has lost 15% of its value because of a joke, then it's entirely of their doing. They never had to get involved in this.
Yes.
And that is what pranks being misunderstood is.
This is the downstream consequence of social experiment YouTube videos.
Exactly.
Is a 15% cratering in some poor meat distributing facility that everyone thinks isn't being used by McDonald's anymore.
You've got to realize that people aren't always going to take well to a practical joke.
No.
And if that can happen on small scale, it should happen on big scale. And this is a way for corporations to feel that punch. It's the only time that we can get them to be told off en masse for getting involved in something.
It also has like a nice side benefit, which is to spread the word from this. You need some kind of infrastructure where everyone but corporations can get a message.
That's a good point. That would be...
Which feels like a very useful thing to have, but we'll backdoor it into society with this April Fool's thing.
Yes, because I do like the idea of common ground. You can only come up with an idea that's kind of plausible in its funny nature, but because of that, you're allowed to facilitate it with something much more grandiose and impossible to pull off.
Yeah.
So that's my common ground. How do you feel about that?
It's worked. We've come together on this one. I'm in total agreement.
And the best part is, corporations, the big sort of entities themselves, can't hear the second part of this common ground.
Oh no.
We've actually shadow banned them from.
They'll just hear a low buzzing noise and their nose will start to bleed.
Which is, I guess, the third part of this common ground is that there is an embedded message in here that is fatal to toxic corporations.
To C-level executives.
We we create permanent tinnitus in the ears of high-powered execs if they listen to this video. Not that we would ever do that. We don't have the power to do that. It's all a joke.
For now.
April Fools. And the best part is, this episode is released on the 1st of April. April Fools again. I keep on getting you. There is no end to the string of jokes, apart from, of course, the end of this episode.
Yeah, so thank you for listening. Stay subtle, humble, and brave.
In the deserts of your minds. Good night.